You've done a lot of Trump rallies, but it was really interesting and you're glad you went.
Yeah, I am glad I went because working that crowd and talking to the people that showed up was really illuminating, Chris. I mean, you talked and played those comments from him on immigration, right? I met a lot of immigrants at that rally. Actually, a lot of folks from the Dominican Republic, that's a big demographic in the Bronx, who themselves agree with Trump's hardline stance on immigration. They said things to me like, look, I came here, quote, the right way, and I'm frustrated by what I see at the border. I'm frustrated by what I see in New York City in terms of how those migrants are getting taken care of when I feel like I haven't been taken care of like this in this city. And number one, for all of these voters, Black, Hispanic, white, Jewish, all were there in that crowd. Not surprising, a reflection of what we're seeing in the polling, the economy, those pocketbook issues, number one.
Hey everybody, this is Troy over at Uncomfortable Truths. Thanks for checking me out. So as you can see, it's a bad day to be a Democrat. They are learning over at MSNBC after years and years of people telling them that no, people are actually hurting, and these policies that these far left Democrats are trying to implement aren't helping anybody except illegal immigrants. So Trump just went and did a rally in the Bronx, which I don't need to tell you is not necessarily a particularly red area. And honestly, the crowd was huge. It was shocking. Even MSNBC and CNN had come out and say, yeah, he had really good turnout in this area. So these interviews happen over in the Bronx, and they realize that it's not just these supposed deplorables that are supporting Donald Trump. These are actual people of color and immigrants that are saying, yeah, we need to reinstitute Trump's policies. This is insane. We need to take care of our own people. Now, this is a real wake-up call to MSNBC, but the problem that the MSNBC and the far-left Democrats have is they're already too far married to Biden at this point to really change anything. So all they're doing over and over again is they're going to keep telling you, no, we know that you're saying that you're spending a lot of money and that things are expensive, but they're not. It's not that bad. The economy is actually doing really well, and Biden's doing a really good job. And if you don't think so, you're wrong. Well, that tactic isn't even working in the Bronx. A lot of blue areas and a lot of people that voted historically for Democrats are moving to Trump. Now, keep in mind that in 2020, Trump actually grew his support from minority voters, and it looks like he's going to continue that trend here in 2024. So let's take a look at some of these interviews that they conducted.
Now we're becoming the Bronx second-class citizens. We have this influx of migrants are coming in, and they're getting everything. And everyone in the Bronx, in the city of New York, is forgotten.
The Bronx has a lot of crime. A lot of migrants are here, and it's just getting out of control.
When I came and he was the president, the gas was a lot cheaper than it is right now. I used to work in a supermarket. I was a manager. I saw the prices in food go up as soon as he left the presidency. So I want that back.
So it's good to see MSNBC actually going out and talking to some regular people and getting a reality check about what's actually going on in the country, because they still think that the only reason why somebody would vote for Trump is because they are a white, male, conservative Christian that only cares about themselves. Well, that's a little bit hard for them to keep that narrative going when they're actually talking to immigrants in the Bronx saying, no, it was way better under Trump. We didn't have insane amounts of crime. And why are we taking care of immigrants before we're actually taking care of the people in our own country? My favorite interview that they showed there was the guy was saying, yeah, I was working as a manager at a grocery store, and I just saw prices going up as soon as Donald Trump left office. Yeah, that's because people understand that they were better off under Donald Trump, which is what the person who was conducting these interviews goes to talk to the host, and she just can't wrap her mind around the idea that people care more about their well-being and their family's well-being than they do the stupid moral posturing of the Democrats, which first off is all nonsense right out of the gate. What they do is they try to do a bunch of race hustling to say, oh, well, if you're black or brown, this is what should matter to you, and the white people only care about this. That isn't true. All of those people could have been the exact same people saying things in Wisconsin, Utah, or wherever. What happens when you actually go through and you impact the economy negatively is you hurt everyone. This isn't a race thing the way that they're trying to make it out to be. And people are finally starting to wise up to it and say, hey, we're all better off when we have Trump as president instead of Biden, because these policies that Biden is instituting, they aren't being instituted to actually help Americans. That's why America First policies are the way to go. And let's take a look at this MSNBC host try to wrap her mind around the way that everyday regular Americans think.
A lot of people I met, their first time at a Trump event, their first time they're planning to vote for Trump, the first time they're going to vote for a Republican for president, a lot of first-time voters, period.
But so one of the other things he said, without any evidence at all, is migrants are coming to the U.S., they're building an army to launch an attack of some. I mean, when he goes to that extreme without any evidence whatsoever, that's not what lands.
All right, we got to stop here for a second because this lady just keeps saying dumb stuff. Now, first off, Democrats for years and years were saying there is no crisis at the border. Republicans are just making this up and fear-mongering in order to win elections. Well, then it became clear that that tactic wasn't working anymore. So they said, oh, well, we're the ones who are trying to be tough on the border. It's the Republicans that aren't going to take care of this issue. So we're hard on the border and the Republicans are soft on the border. Well, that's obviously horse shit and nobody's buying it. So this lady is basically just saying that, oh, there's no evidence whatsoever. Well, that's the same thing they were saying before. And now they're just saying, oh, well, there's no evidence that any of these people want to harm America. Well, keep in mind, do you really think that China is sending over military-aged men because they want to help America? It doesn't even make sense. So maybe she doesn't like the way he's speaking, but to actually come out and say there's no evidence of this problem is completely absurd. But we'll let them get back to saying their crazy shit.
So what I'll tell you is I asked voters about similar things he said in the past. I asked him about his position on the Central Park Five. I asked him about some of his comments that have appealed to white supremacists, right? What voters say is that this is just how he talks. We don't like it. Some of it's a bit offensive, but I look at what my life was like during the Trump administration versus now, and I liked it better then. And this is something I've heard consistently as
All right, well, that's Dasha Burns telling MSNBC to their face, this is what she's getting from the field. This is what voters are saying when it actually comes to the issues that they care about. And it's their pocketbook issues. It's not these issues that MSNBC and other far left networks keep trying to shove down their throats. It's not working anymore because people actually can't pay their bills. They can't afford the things that they need to survive. And they're seeing their quality of life diminish. So credit for Dasha Burns actually going through and telling everybody what she found. You can check out the full link to the video below. It's just in the description there. But I am extremely happy to see that people are less and less likely to fall for these old tricks. They're saying, hey, look, I may not like Trump. I may not like the things he says all the time, or even I just may not like the way that he says things. I think it's divisive. Now, I happen to think that a lot of the time he's hilarious, but there's no question that there are a number of people that really just don't like the way Trump talks. They don't like kind of the over-the-top rhetoric. And I can understand that, even if I think that they're being a little bit childish by needing everything spoon-fed to them. But even so, these people are actually taking a look at things. They're saying, all right, at the end of the day, I'm not voting for somebody that I want to hang out with. I'm voting for somebody who's going to represent my interests, and I'm going to weigh my interests when it comes to these two candidates and then make an informed decision that way. So I'm extremely happy to see this, and I'm really happy that we're actually seeing that Trump's going to blue areas and campaigning there, because there's no reason that we should continue to allow mainstream media outlets to divide us. And even when we have disagreements with our fellow Americans, we can actually have discussions with our neighbors and with our friends in a way that's productive and respectful, instead of constantly just coming out and accusing somebody of being racist or misogynistic or whatever the latest ist is that they want to actually go through and accuse people of being, simply because they don't agree with you. So people don't fit in neat boxes like, oh, just because I'm a minority immigrant living in the Bronx, that means I'm going to vote for Biden. Absolutely not. And it would be racist to make that assumption. And I'm glad that people aren't falling for it anymore. But anyway, everybody, that's all I have on this today. If you liked the video, do me a favor, hit like and subscribe, and tell me what you thought of the video. Take care, everybody. Talk to you later.